BBC News at midday. A barge which will house 500 asylum seekers has arrived off the coast of Dorset and has been met by local residents protesting and waving banners. The Bibby Stockholm is the first vessel secured under the government's plans to reduce the cost of asylum accommodation. The Mayor of Portland Town, Carolyn Parks, who's also a Labour councillor, says the area lacks the capacity to support the people on the barge.
To me, this whole thing is a gimmick. It's a gimmick that the Tories have cooked up to throw out and try and whip up a whole load of hate and anger against asylum seekers and to try and pit communities against each other.
The Metropolitan Police Commissioner has expressed frustration with the government, claiming it's delaying his efforts to remove bad officers from the force. Sir Mark Rowley said he was waiting for the government to complete a review which would make it easier to sack staff. Speaking on Today, Sir Mark said it was strange that he couldn't decide who should be dismissed.
You are robustly challenging me on the culture and the sort of the Met and our ability to build trust in communities. It seems a little perverse, doesn't it? That I say, yeah, but actually I don't get to decide who works here. That's a bit weird, and I don't think anybody else works in an organisation where that's the case.
The retrial of the former Manchester United footballer Ryan Giggs on domestic violence charges has been abandoned. The original proceedings ended with the jury unable to reach a verdict. He had been due to face another trial this month, but not guilty verdicts were issued at Manchester Crown Court this morning. Grocery price inflation has slowed for the fourth month in a row. The analysis firm Kantar says supermarket promotions helped the figure fall to 14.9% in July, down from 16.5% in June. Our business reporter Daniel Thomas has more.
Food prices are one of the biggest contributors to the UK's overall rate of inflation, which remains stubbornly high. But Kantar suggests these pressures are starting to ease, in part because people are dramatically changing their shopping habits. It said Britons were spending much more on items in supermarket promotions to save money. They are also choosing cheaper retailers like Aldi and Lidl. However, the research firm warned that grocery price inflation remained incredibly high at a time when households are already struggling with other rising costs.
The Commonwealth Games Federation says a decision by the Australian state of Victoria to pull out of hosting the 2026 Games is hugely disappointing. The state's Premier, Dan Andrews, blamed soaring costs. The former long-distance runner, Sir Brendan Foster, says there are serious questions for the federation.
They really need to rethink or even show a new level of enterprise. Otherwise, we may have seen the last of the Commonwealth Games. And I think the big question is, who's going to step in this time? If anyone, and if no one steps in, 2022, the Birmingham Games, maybe when we look back in history, we may see the sad coincidence of the last Commonwealth Games in the year the Queen died.
A report by the industry body Music UK says more than 1 million concert goers visited the UK from abroad last year. It says the music tourism industry contributed about £6.6 billion to the economy in 2022. Jamie Njoku Goodwin is the organisation's chief executive.
It really underlines just how important music is as a driver for our tourism sector. As you say, £6.6 billion spent by music tourists. 14.4 million people coming to events in our local areas. I think it's really important to stress that this isn't just London-based, it's not just very city-centric, it's spread across the UK.
A man's been reunited with a teddy bear he left on top of a Munro near Glencoe in the Highlands. Alistair Tyson has scaled 50 of the mountains with the teddy. However, after a climb last week, he realised he'd left his mascot at the summit. Luckily, a stranger responded to a call on social media and retrieved the bear. BBC News.